love it though. I love it though. You know?
How does Jesus King, an album that reflects on Kanye's newfound Christian faith and spiritual journey, an album that has themes of redemption and salvation that are reflected in its gospel-infused sound, even relate to Yeezus? Another album by Kanye West, an album that explores ideas of power, fame, and race. Yeezus having lyrics that are often confrontational and controversial, with West taking aim at the music industry, consumer culture, and the media. Yeezus also having this abrasive sound, even incorporating elements of industrial, electronic, and punk music. How does this album even correlate to an album like Jesus King? Jesus King feels like the antithesis of Yeezus, not just in the aesthetics, but in the sound and lyrical matter. However, the similarities between the two stick out. First, obviously, the album art. Yeezus brandishes a simple yet prominent image of a CD with red tape, helped designed by the late Virgil Abloh. Something so simple yet now feels so one of a kind and recognizable. On the other hand, Jesus King boasts a blue vinyl, with some words on the cover, minimalist like the Yeezus cover, but still more complex than its counterpart. Maybe not as iconic. Jesus King shows at the top of the artwork the title of the album, while on the bottom showing the artist's name, on the right stating 33 RPM. 12-inch records are generally employed as a long format album, playing at 33 RPM. That includes several tunes per side. On the left stating New Songs AR1331A. The code refers to a record by Ruby Shelton with music from Sister Orr, which features the songs I Want the World to Know Jesus and God's Going to Destroy This Nation on the A side. There may be a connection between the two records. I mean, why would he put it on the album art? The album art for Jesus King and Yeezus share some similarities in terms of their minimalist design and color scheme. I mean, they are both discs. No other album of Kanye shows similarities except for the first three albums, which are a clear trilogy. It is unclear if this was intentional or simply a coincidence. Kanye West has been known to be very deliberate in his artistic choices.
Josh! He's in the back here. Where's the bass?
So it's possible that he wanted to create a visual connection between the two albums. Both album covers emphasize simplicity and abstraction, reflecting the album's introspective themes. However, without a statement from Kanye himself, it is impossible to say for sure what his intentions were. You really can't talk about Jesus King without mentioning Yandhi, the album that got scrapped because of Jesus King. One of the most famous lines from Jesus King is "Everybody wanted Yandhi, but Jesus Christ did the laundry." The story of Yandhi could be its own docu-series, however this isn't it. Yandhi was supposed to be the follow-up to 2018's Ye, hype around a more obvious sequel that Yeezus started, Yeezus being a wordplay of Jesus and Yandhi being a wordplay of Gandhi, two immortalized figures in human history. We never got Yandhi, however we got Yeezus. Kanye's intentions are unknown, however Yeezus feels as Kanye portrays Jesus or a godlike figure like Jesus throughout the album, being more humbled by the end of the album than the second to last track, turning a 180 again during this track Send It Up, reverting back to his arrogant, prideful, even sinful ways. The last track being clear of his newfound love truly brought him any happiness and peace with oneself. If I were to assume Yandhi would have done something similar, maybe a closing to this stage in Kanye's life, from Yeezus to the life of Pablo to Ye, Yandhi being an end of an era. Kanye would have portrayed Gandhi being internationally esteemed for his doctrine of nonviolent protest to achieve political and social progress. Maybe making peace with the ones that he shows hate on Yeezus, the life of Pablo, and Ye, which I believe Jesus King achieves. Maybe not directly referencing these issues on Jesus King, however saying all of his issues have been resolved. He has no more worries in his path on life, with songs like Closed on Sunday stating, "My life is his, I'm no longer my own. I pray to God that he'll strengthen my hand. They will think twice before stepping on my land. I got my weapons in the spirit's land. Jezebel don't even stand a chance." Or, even on God, stating, "How you get so much favor on your side? Accept him as your Lord and Savior," I replied. These passages show Kanye's newfound vice, his new direction. I've seen the pick of the 4 hours of Kanye. I think yes, there is the Dropout trilogy, 808s being a solo one-off, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy being the progressive good music era, although the next two are wrong in my opinion. I also don't agree with Unreleased being on the list. As much as I want TurboGrafx, Yandhi, and Donda 2 to be real, they just aren't. There's a reason they are not. However, from the start of Yeezus to Jesus King is his own era, the era of Find God. Yeezus being the start of finding God and realizing it's oneself.
Where just like that, when someone comes up and says something like, I am a God, everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a God. I just told you, that's who I think I am.
Then on the life of Pablo, having this choice of whether to choose the quote unquote right God, or the God within oneself. Then on Ye sharing what he struggles with, and realizing a lot of it, no matter what, is out of his control. Realizing he isn't and can't be a God. Then at the end of a journey, he realizes there is only one God. In his and others' interpretation of Jesus and the Christian faith, if you follow God and do what God expects you to do, God will grant you with every blessing you need. Maybe not what you want. Closing out this era in Kanye's life, Kanye now being whole in oneself by using the gospel. So then wouldn't The Life of Pablo be the sequel to Yeezus if it's the next one in the era? Yes, however I like to think Jesus King feels more like a sequel to Yeezus because it feels like a beginning and an end. As No Malice says in Yeezus Gospel, one gives you rate talk and the other gives you faith talk. For Yeezus and Jesus King, it is the nature of the criticism that Kanye gripes about even if he gives it all that he can to be a part of something. On New Slaves, from Yeezus, Kanye spits,
Doing clothes you would have thought I had help, but they wasn't satisfied unless I picked the cotton myself. You see, it's broken.
Kanye's definitely not love but not quite hate letter to the fashion industry. And on Hands On, from Jesus King, he spits,
Said I'm finna do a gospel album. What have you been hearing from the Christians? They'll be the first one to judge me. Make it feel like nobody loves me.
while we're getting two completely different sides of Kanye, one thing will remain true 6 years later. He doesn't get his flowers. He gets no love from Christians even after naming his album Jesus King. Like on Yeezus, how he gets no love from fashion designers even after making Yeezys. Another reason it feels as if these albums are connected is their departure from previous work. Both Yeezus and Jesus King, and even 808s, represent departure from Kanye West's previous musical style and approaches. Yeezus was a departure from West's earlier work, with a stripped down sound and aggressive lyrics, while Jesus King marks a departure from his earlier secular music towards a more gospel-infused sound and themes of faith. Following the release is the reception of the album. Both albums were met with mixed reviews and polarizing reactions from fans and critics alike. Yeezus was praised by some for its experimental sound and bold approach, while others criticized it for being too abrasive and lacking in substance. Similarly, Jesus King received praise for its gospel-infused sound and themes of faith, but also drew criticism for being too preachy and simplistic. While those may seem like superficial reasons to suggest these albums are correlated, the themes and lyrics are what drive home this idea, speaking on a godlike figure throughout both albums. On Yeezus stating, I am a God, even though I'm a man of God, my whole life in the hand of God. Another line stating, I know he the most high, but I am a close high. Kanye states that God is number one, but Kanye himself is definitely number two, already showing that he can, or even at one point did service God, at that point in time choosing to serve himself. Then on Jesus King stating, showing that when he chose the path to follow God, he is now okay. Kanye on Yeezus, having many problems and struggles, dealing with them in what seems like self-destructive and crude ways, Although on Jesus is King throughout the album, stating that his problems have been dealt with, his family and God getting him through any trial and tribulation. Besides the intro song to Yeezus being dope as fuck, I want to get that line in your head. He gives us what we need, it may not be what we want. Clearly referring to God and his plan for his children, us humans, but Kanye uses to refer to himself, and to demonstrate that he is basically going to give us whatever music he wants to give us, and we are going to like it, because he is a godly figure, which is clear, blatant heresy. On Jesus King, I feel as Ye states this again, but in a different matter. With the scrapping of Yandhi, it feels as if Kanye solidifies that statement again. Not only by the music he has given us with Jesus King, but with the subject matter, Jesus King. Religion is a tricky subject, however it has definitely shown people guidance. The themes of these albums may not be the same, but they are definitely parallel. He gave us what we needed, it may have not been what we wanted.